We are here today with a little something special. We're actually going to be sending off our CGC submissions today to be graded. Should only take 2 or so, maybe 3 weeks to come back to us. I decided I might as well do a little preview here of what we're actually getting sent off. Maybe try and get some of the grades that we're going to get back here in a couple weeks to a month. We're doing a 50 card bulk submission. The only reason I'm not going to do PSA or Beckett this time around is because of how far back that they are. And I like to give the underdog a chance every now and then. We'll go ahead and start with the first cards. We just got a bunch of these Charizard V's fresh out of the packs. I'm guessing the majority of these are all going to get 9.5s with maybe one or two of them a 9. I'm really hoping to get at least one of them back as a 10. It'd be super awesome. I mean, you got 11 of these getting sent off. So hopefully one of these will come back as a 10 for us. That'd be awesome. Next we have 3 of these Gyarados from Unlimited. Hopefully, I'm hoping one of these, I forget which one it is. I'm hoping this one comes back as like an 8.5 or an 8. This one will probably be a 7 or so. This one will probably be like a 6. So much whitening. Maybe even a little lower on that one. Got basic Gyarados is after the Charizard Beast. Then we got a Charizard that's from Unlimited as well. We're going to be sending off to get graded. It does have some surface scratching on it and a little ding on the corner. Back is a little, probably about moderately played. I'm going to guess a solid 4.5 or 5 on this one. Then we have this big boy that y'all have seen if you watch my videos that I pulled on stream. A Charizard VMAX of Darkness Ablaze. I'm going to guess this one's going to get a 9.5. Hopefully I'm right about that. The centering looks pretty good. Edges are fine. Surface looks great. There's like the slightest top to bottom centering here. That's why I'm going to say it's going to be a 9.5. Next we have this Charizard EX full art from XY Evolutions. Centering looks like pretty good. A little bit off from right to left here. Top to bottom looks fine. Edges look great, no whitening. And the surface looks awesome as well. We're going to give this one a 9 or a 9.5 as well. Hopefully we can get that one right. How's it going, sus? I'm just reviewing some of the cards we are doing for the grading. And we will see what they come back as here in a couple weeks to a month. So this is a Venusaur from Unlimited. Looks like it has a little bit of surface scratches. Maybe a roller line mark, a printer line. It's got a little bit of dirt. And it looks probably about moderately played. Good bit of whitening. I'm going to say this one will come back as a 4.5 to a 5.5. Hopefully we're right about that. Then we got one of my favorites here. We got our Red Cheeks. Shadowless Pikachu here. Let me see if I can put a piece of dirt on here. Actually on the sleeve itself. Just want to get that off. This is a really good condition card for being as old as it is. Like, I mean, almost perfect surface. Centering is a little... No, centering actually looks pretty decent. I think I have like one edge that looks a little rough and a tiny little bit of whitening. I'm going to expect this card to come back as an 8 or an 8.5. I'd be really, really excited if it came back as a 9. So hopefully this does get that grade we are looking for. Next we got our Rillaboom Secret Rare. You can definitely tell the centering is not quite perfect, a little bit different from the top to bottom here. The edges and corners look pretty good. The surface looks pretty good as well. I'm going to say this one's a solid 8.5 or 9. And all these cards, the majority of them, I pulled pack fresh. So a lot of them will be good quality. Now this one was from a childhood collection. Definitely has some surface scratching. It's got a little dings on a couple of the corners. Back is that 1996 Pocket Monsters back. A little bit of dirt. A little bit of surface scratches and a corner ding here. We're going to hope for a solid 7. We'll be happy with anything higher than that. Next we got our Ninetales V. This card was pulled pack fresh a couple of weeks ago. I think I might have done it for stream for you guys. Surface looks great. Centering is a little off from left to right. Edges look great. The whitening in the surface looks pretty perfect. We're going to say that's a solid 9 or 9.5. And do our Nessa full art. I'm just curious as to what this one comes back as. We do have a little off centering from top to bottom here. But everything else on this card looks great. I think if without that little difference in centering here, this would come back as a 9.5 or 10. Next we have our Secret Rare Fire Energy from Darkness Ablaze. Corner looks a little miscut right there. Centering is pretty decent actually. Got a little whitening on that corner. This one will be a solid 9 or 9.5. Next we have our Unlimited Mewtwo Holo. Looks in pretty great condition. Tiny little surface scratch there. I'm not seeing any printer marks, so that's good. Centering does look like it might be a little off, but not too much. Got a little surface ding right here, or edge ding, a little whitening. This will probably be an 8.5 or so. We got our M Blastoise EX from XY Evolutions as well. Centering looks a little off from top to bottom. Edges look great. Corners looks great. Surface looks great as well. I'm going to say this is a 9. We got 2 of these bad boys, these M Blastoise EXs. Both their surfaces look pretty great. Pretty stellar. Centering on these. Maybe a little off from... Oh, actually, that one kind of looks a little crooked. It was printed crooked. It definitely was. Look. It's like thicker here and here. So the card is slanted. So the centering is definitely going to be very off on this one. The edges look great. The corners look great. The surface looks great. But that centering is definitely pretty whack. We're going to say it's a solid 8, 8.5. Just because of that centering there. Might even be a little worse. Let's check out the centering on this one. Centering looks great. No edge wear, perfect corners, perfect surface. 9.5. That's what my guess is going to be here. Next we have our Secret Rare Cape of Toughness. I was really happy to pull this card, so I pulled it with a Leon as well. Like a pack earlier, so it's pretty cool. The centering is a little off here. From top to bottom. Edges look pretty great. Surface is fantastic. We're going to say a 9. A solid 9 on that one. Next we have our Galarian Obstacoon. I can already tell that the centering is off here. Top to bottom. Yeah, it's got a really fat bottom. And it even is a little bit off right to the left, but the corners and the edges look great. There's no whitening. And the surface is fantastic as well. So we're going to give this one a solid 8.5 or 9. Next we have the Zoroark GX from Shining Legends. This was my first secret rare I pulled within the last couple of years. So I was really happy when I got this. Centering looks pretty gate. Maybe a little bit off from left to right here. Edges are great. No whitening, no dings. Centering is a little off on the back, but the front looks pretty good. Maybe a little off still. And the surface is fantastic. We'll give this one a solid 9.5. Now, CGC being the grading service that I'm going to be using, they do grade the hardest out of any company. So once you get that number back from them, you know that's a true number there. Alright, Palkia GX. Wow, the centering is really off on this one. Yeah. Edge, there's a tiny little ding right there. It doesn't look perfectly brown on the edges there. There's a little whitening at the bottom here. I'll give this one a solid 8. Maybe even 7.5 because of that centering being so off. Next we got our Lunala GX Secret Rare. Centering looks pretty decent on this one. Edges are great. Corners are great. Not really any whitening whatsoever. Centering is a little off from left to right here, just barely. It's probably like 45, 55 here. That's not terrible. We'll give this one a solid 9. This is that Leon I was talking about. Super awesome card. Definitely great surface. Edges look great. Whitening at the top for some reason. That could just be the angle I'm looking at it. Centering is awesome on this card. Corners are great. Edges aren't dinged up. Let's see if that whitening actually... I think that might just be the middle section of the card. I'm just looking at a weird angle. I'm going to give this a 9.5. Maybe even a possible 10 candidate. Next we have our Alistair Secret Rare here. Centering looks pretty decent. Edges are good. Corners are good. No whitening, no dings. A little bit off from left to right here. Top to bottom looks great. We're going to say 9 or a 9.5. So we got an amazing rare Celebi. Centering looks pretty good. Edges look good. Corners look good. Surface looks great. We may have a 9.5 or a 10 here. But if this one doesn't get it, the next one definitely will get a good grade. Another Celebi amazing rare. Centering looks fantastic. Edges are great. Oh, I see a little whitening at the very top left there. So it's not going to be a 10. It'll be a solid 9 or a 9.5. Maybe the other one will grade a 10. We'll get super lucky there. Next we have our Jirachi Amazing Rare. This was definitely my favorite of the Amazing Rares to go send off to get graded. Jirachi is one of my favorite Pokemon. Edges look great. Centering on the front looks great. Definitely a tad bit more from right to left here. Top to bottom looks pretty decent. No edge wear corners, no whitening. Probably a solid 9. We got a Raikou here. Last of the amazing rares we're sending off to get graded. Centering looks pretty good on the front, so does the surface. Back centering looks pretty decent. Edges and corners look great. Maybe a solid 9.5. Next we got our Charizard GX. Promo. Centering is a little off. Not terrible though. Got a little whitening on the corner. Not sure what that is on that corner. Little things. It's going to be a solid 8.5 or 9. Centering is a little off on the front. Getting into some of our older cards again. We got our Chansey Hollow. That's from Unlimited. Got a little dings on the edges, a little whitening. Centering's pretty decent. Corners are pretty good. I'm going to give this a solid 7.5 or 8. We got our first edition Machamp here. Hollow. Third on the sleeve, I guess. Try and get that off here in a second. Not really any. Oh, I see a little bit of surface scratches. Not terrible. Edge wear, a little whitening. Centering is a little off from right to left. This card will probably get a 6.5 or a 7. We got a Jolteon EX from, what is it, Genesis? I believe that's Genesis. Centering looks pretty great. Surface looks pretty great. Maybe a little bit of surface scratching. Not really any edge wear. Maybe a tiny little bit of whitening in this top corner. This would probably be an 8.5. We got Raichu from Unlimited set. A little bit of surface scratching. Edges look good. Centering might be a little off from top to bottom and a little bit off from left to right. Lots of edge wear. This is lightly played to moderately played. Corner whitening. This card will probably get a 6.5. Magneton from Unlimited. A little bit of surface scratchings. That could be the card case. Back looks pretty decent. A little bit of whitening. Corners. This will probably be a 6 or 6.5. On our last couple cards here, guys. Got 4 more. We got Lily, full art trainer card. This card just looked really good when I first pulled it. That's why I always wanted to get it graded. It's a little off from right to left. Top bottom looks pretty decent. Edges and corners look great. No whitening. Surface looks awesome. Probably be a 9. Solid 9. Then we got our Hitmonchan from Unlimited as well. Definitely a little bit of surface scratches. Corner looks a little miscut. Tiny little bit. Back is a little dinged up on the corners. A little whitening. So probably a 7. We got our Poliwrath from Unlimited next. Corner is definitely whack right there. Definitely a little bit more from top to bottom. The centering, that corner is a little not rounded as well. But there's not too much edge wear here. So we're going to say it's a solid 8. We're going to hope on this one. I got a Nidoking from Unlimited as well. Not too much surface scratching. Not too much edge wear, not too much whitening. Corners look pretty decent. We're going to give this a solid 8 or 8.5. We're going to really hope for good results on that one. And last but certainly not least, we're going to do our Ninetales Unlimited. See a little wompy in the corner here and a little ding. Surface looks pretty good. Centering looks pretty decent. A little bit of edge wear, a little bit of whitening. This is a lightly played to moderately played card. We're going to hope for a 6. Thank you guys. I'll be sending off these cards today to get graded. Hopefully we'll get them back within a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks here, and then we'll do the follow-up video for you guys. See if we got any of the grades right. I am excited. This is one of my first times grading the CGC, so I'm excited to see some of the results. I've heard really good things about them, and with them not being so backup as PSA and Beckett, maybe CGC is the way to go right now. But thanks, and check in a couple weeks, guys, and